actual number of atoms in that molecule, and then we name it based on that. Sometimes when we write structural formulas, we just list the number of each atom, or when we write molecular formulas. When we write structural formulas, that shows us how something put together. So let's look at this example. This is ethanol. Ethanol is the drinking alcohol. And its formula is C2H6O. But that doesn't really tell you how it's put together. Because it's an alcohol, it is CH3, CH2, and then OH. That gives us a structural formula. It tells us that we have 3 hydrogens connected here, 2 hydrogens connected to the middle carbon, and then we have an OH together. We could also have isomers, things that are the same formula but put together differently, and a structural formula can tell us that. Okay, we can also look at another compound that has the same formula. This is dimethyl ether. You don't have to memorize these names. I'm just using them as examples to explain structural formulas. So this one is CH3OCH3. So structurally they're different, even though they both have 2 carbons, 6 hydrogens, and 1 oxygen. So sometimes we'll talk about the formula, sometimes we'll look at a structural formula. When we're talking about molecules versus ionic compounds, we will often write empirical formulas. And empirical formulas are the smallest whole number ratio of atoms. And that's what we write for the ionic compounds we've already discussed. But for a molecular formula, the empirical formula might sometimes be the same as the formula for the molecule. So let's look at this. Benzene. Benzene is C6H6. Its empirical formula is CH, because I can divide the whole thing by 6. Acetylene, C2H2. Its empirical formula is CH. But these are 2 really different things. You know acetylene from oxyacetylene welding torches, right? You know acetylene. And you may not know benzene. Benzene is a component in gasoline, and it's a really great solvent. We love to use it in chemistry, but unfortunately now we're not allowed to use it so much. During the 1960s and 70s, when I was in school, we used benzene all the time, and it smells really great. It's got an aromatic ring. It smells lovely. So I used to work in a lab, very small room, probably like the size of this demo area where I'm confined, and we'd have that stuff boiling on the bench, and I'd stand there and, oh yeah, smell it, because it smells so good. Well, they announced about 23 years later, oh, by the way, you can't use benzene anymore. It's a class 1 carcinogen targeting the liver. I'd say, well, good to know. Well, I mean, look at me, right? Okay, so I mean, I'm fine. A few years ago, I found myself doubled over in abdominal pain. My daughter thought I should go to the hospital, so I eventually did after arguing with her. And when I got there, they did a CAT scan, and they're like, oh, you have a mass on your liver. Well, I about went into cardiac arrest when they told me that, because I'm thinking, oh, benzene. But it turned out to be a cyst. It was nothing. It's fixed. I'm good. But you got to remember, I mean, okay, so I breathed in benzene, but I also rode in a car with no car seat when I was a baby. I slept in a crib that had lead paint, you know, and I turned out fine. I used to play with mercury. Look at me now. Okay. Hydrogen peroxide, H2O2. Empirical formula, HO. Carbon tetrachloride, CCl4. Empirical formula, CCl4. So now you can see sometimes it's the same as the molecular, sometimes it's not. So go ahead and take a couple of minutes at your seats and just fill those in. For you that are home listening to this video, I'm going to stop the video now, and there'll be another video coming later.